Meeting for July 27th. Guess we still have a couple of people joining. I'll go ahead and present my screen. And so the last time we met was on the 13th, and we had Frufi had submitted some future possible work, and then we were thinking that Andy was probably still waiting for his back end experiment, and so I'm flipping between a couple of screens here. So we have. So hi VJ. So I was wondering. Hi. So I was wondering if you guys had items you wanted to present today, or I could start going through the queue. Let me get the page up real quick here. Okay. And I think we wanted to talk about 390. 382. Is that right, Marian?
Oh, can you start with that? Yeah.
Yeah, 382. I'll just look it up this way.
It's not a pull request, it's an issue 382.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't have my glasses on. I'm really sorry. So let's see. Should have brought my glasses. Okay. I think I have it.
Yeah. So there was a bug in the related to inbound packet processing, because there is a table which is called inbound routing, and it has an ENI ID as a key. So it matches on ENI and a couple of other fields to decide if this packet came from expected source or not. And the problem is that this inbound routing table, since it performs the lookup before decap, still on the underlay part of the packet as well. The way that the other tables were ordered is that ENI lookup happened after it. So we had an issue in here that you go to the inbound routing and there is no ENI yet that was set. So you match on nothing. So that's the problem. It would be always a miss. So the way to fix it, there is a pull request number 396.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, so that pull request, so what it does, it reorders tables in a way that ENI lookup now happens before decap. So instead of doing lookup on source and destination MAC, it does the lookup on source or on inner source or destination MAC. And it does that before stuff like inbound routing and so on. So this was a bug, and good thing is that it doesn't change any of the API. As a result, I just moved tables, moved one table in front of other tables. Key isn't changed, action isn't changed, because the key was a metadata, not really inner or other MAC. It was a metadata that the relevant MAC was placed there based on the direction before. So there's that. Now I think we can unblock some of the tests in the PTF, but basically that's the gist of changes. We just move the table up.
Marian, do you think it'd be good to merge sync from Maine, because this was a few weeks ago, just to make sure there's no conflicts or surprises.
Yeah, let me try to do that.
It'd be good to sync one more time, run the action pipeline, then we can probably accept this.
Yeah, let me do that. If you have other things, we can proceed with those. And meanwhile, I will just do the merge.
Okay.
Thanks. I've been caught by surprise a few times.
And we'll do that while we're talking here. Marian, is that right?
You can go on with the next stuff. I will
Yeah,
do that in
totally.
the background.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay. Well, thank you. So that knocks out an issue and a PR. So thank you, Marian. Did anyone else on the call have comments or questions on that one? No.
No, it looks good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so this was our project board that we used to work off of. I'm just not sure what the next action item would be on this board. I had to move it over from the Azure repo to the SonicNet repo. So we had a lot of things backlogged and pending. And so I think we were waiting for the compiler, the simulator, all this kind of stuff. So if there's anything else here. While I'm looking, did anyone on the call have anything they wanted to talk about?
We're working on that underlay still.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we had a big conversation about that again yesterday, and Murcha said he was going to add the comments into the PR. And was talking to Kumaresh and Riff here, and they kind of thought it was a difficult problem to solve as well. Do you guys think that using the next hop attribute and then just choosing whether we're doing ECMP or something else, do you think this will work? To hairpin the traffic?
Yeah, it's still unclear in my mind, but I'll see what others say as this develops.
Okay.
We'll try some things, and yeah, I think sometimes when you put a stake in the ground and show people this is what we chose to do, then you get a reaction, right? Sometimes it doesn't settle in your mind until you see someone doing something. So we'll just take that approach.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate it though. It's great to put it out there. So, yeah.
Certainly opened up Pandora's box.
Yep. So, so Chris, do you mind, or maybe Chris and Marian, do you mind if I get with you guys and go through the behavioral model project board at some point in the future to see what we should be working on next, like the next most important thing?
That's fine by me. We could, unless we have other topics to discuss here, we could take a stab at that even with a larger group here, right? I mean, that's what this is for.
Okay, all right.
Unless there's something else that's taking our time.
Oh, no, I just don't have my glasses on, so.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm having a tough time seeing, but that's okay.
I guess I would ask, not to put you on the spot, Marian, but since we don't always get to meet in real time, is there ongoing work with the BMV2 to do BMV2 model with the enhancements or add-on miss and that type of thing, or is that kind of on indefinite hold?
No, add-on miss is on hold because I decided to put a lower priority on that since we have or will have the DPDK that I would want to migrate to entirely.
Oh, so let me see if I heard that correctly. You're not going to put further effort in the BMV2 because P4 DPDK looks like it's on the horizon. You'd rather put your effort into that. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I would migrate there and not do the admin minus twice.
I see. Okay, that's probably important to know. I don't think that was clear in the past. And it's good that Andy joined, because Andy, do you want to give us your take on where that might be? Because I understand it's a little bit possibly stalled out there too, some issues. Before
On the public P4lang / P4C repo, I created a label yesterday after a discussion with Reshma internally in Intel. I've created a new label called dash blocker for issues that I found several months ago and described then, which are still open and unresolved, unfixed as far as I know. I haven't tested them recently, but I think as far as I know, nobody's fixed them. That basically they don't prevent you from compiling the dash P4 code, but they give you an error. The resulting binary doesn't load into the DPDK software switch today because of, I think, known, high-level understood issues in the backend of P4C DPDK that are bugs.
And
so I can give you a link to that if you want. There has been this, Reshma has raised this issue internally at Intel just last night recently with appropriate manager who's, responsible for directing the time of the person who knows most about this backend. I think he's not against that engineer, Usha Gupta, who's made several commits to P4C DPK to work on it, but I don't know how long it would take to resolve those issues and how much effort, and whether there'd be enough time to do that anytime soon. But there's at least some recent attention, but I don't want to, I would rather not raise hopes too much that they will be resolved in any specific time frame unless they're actually fixed. I can report to you that, but until then, I can just say it's not dead in the water.
Is that an effort that really requires the experts to work on, or is that something where community might be able to help? Or is it?
I mean, it is open source. Anybody with the relevant skills, interest, time, and knowledge can certainly address it. I don't think they're like weekend hacks to a new person to the code base.
Right.
Unless your weekends are longer than most people's.
Yeah, it's not otherwise it probably would already been fixed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to the code base, it's just like there's a familiarity barrier, hump to get over. Then maybe it's a weekend hack, but I don't know how long that initial familiarity might take to achieve.
And this is using the P4C open source front end and a back end that's hosted on the P4DPDK repo, or is it in the P4C backends?
So there's you might be familiar, Chris. There's P4C dash and then different suffixes on that command name that's built by the open source repo, P4C-BM2-SS for the BM2 software switch. There's a P4C-DPDK binary built from that open source code that produces a binary output specific to the DPDK software switch today, which is all open source. Just has bugs in it for this dash P4 program right now.
So calling on volunteers.
I'll give you a link to the
I think I pasted it.
Blocker issues.
Check the chat. I think I've just pasted the link to the repo.
Let me give you a link to the blocker, DPDK blocker tag that I created last night. Just a moment. There we go. I'll put it in chat.
Dash blocker 3966. 3965.
Just dash -blocker is the tag name that I created.
Yeah.
And there's two such issues. One is like the first layer of the onion, and the second one I tried to work around and found a second layer of the onion underneath it.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Calling all volunteers.
And if you do want to volunteer, I would recommend contacting Usha Gupta, who's, I think, like, I can give you her GitHub ID. She's just to coordinate and or avoid redundant effort, perhaps. might be a good thing to, or yeah, and or she might be willing to give advice. Let me find her, like to her GitHub ID in case you want to ping her on an issue or something
Yeah.
with an @ thing. Yeah, I've already done that on one of those issues. Let me see. Oh, actually, when I do it right now, it'll auto-complete for me. There we go. All right. Put that in chat.
Thank you. Are you still having trouble without glasses? Okay. I'm just going to create this as a reminder to myself, and what we talked about. So basically we're kind of holding off on BMV2 in hopes that P4 DPDK will get better, Marian.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And I have been still pursuing internal resources here, looking for people who can help with P4. There's also not a ton within Microsoft just as well. So just so you guys know, I've been looking. So I'm going to stop presenting so I can see people on the call. So, okay. Was there anything else to cover today, guys? Any other PRs or issues or things you want to talk about?
Hey, Christina, there is one issue, 390, the meter questions that Vincent had raised. I think it's kind of pivoted to counter questions. I think the meter-based questions have been answered. I think the counters as a feature needs to be addressed, like from Prince or anybody else who can just give us the actual requirements. I believe that the current definitions are a little bit overarching because as far as Sirius is concerned, there are no per route or per mapping counters because of the scale. And there are also a whole bunch of counters that are defined right now in one of the documents, which, yeah, I'm not sure if it really makes sense for a DPU in a smart switch kind of deployment. So I think that needs to be scrubbed and looked at.
Suppose I could potentially just open a different issue. Since you're right, the meter stuff is taken care of.
And we did publish some counters to the Dash Sonic HLD, but they may not be fully fleshed out for what you were looking for. Vincent, is that right? So
Yeah, I think overall it's just that we know we need counters and all that. With meters, I kind of revisited the counters. I don't think there's a clear picture about exactly how counters will work in general. It may not be a priority. I don't know.
we had a discussion on counters, trying to, and I thought we had put them into this document.
Yeah, let me just rehash on it. I haven't had a chance to look at the final answers on that issue that are open, so I'll just look at those again and cross-reference with the HLD.
Oh, okay. All right. I was trying to help a little bit here. Okay, sounds good. So.
Yeah, I think there is one section in the SDN features packet transforms document, not in the HLD.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the packet transform stock, that's interesting because that was, much older. And so that's here and it's packet transform stock. So And it was way at the bottom. And so this came about as a result of just multiple meetings and conversations. This was what was kind of put out in the beginning. So let me see if I can help tie the two together also, Vincent. Are you familiar with this link, Vincent?
I'll find it. I know where it's at. It's
You
fine.
know where it's at? Okay, and I
Yeah.
can also, if this would paste properly. Oh, it
Yeah, it
did.
does.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Sometimes I get some weird link, so, okay.
Yeah, I'll go through that and the answer of
Mhm.
my issue by the end of the week, and I'll just probably close the meter. And if I got any remainings, I'll open
Mhm.
new issues.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, BJ.
Sure. Thanks.
So I am struggling without my glasses. Sasha, did you have anything, or Bud or Raleigh?
No, not for today. Just enjoying
Okay,
it too.
cool. Okay, great. Great. I think that's all we have then. I do kind of want to go through the project board, but I'll give a call to people I need to talk to internally here and externally. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the recording. Andy, I can't do the 7-second rule. I do the 3-second rule. So is there, anything else from anyone else?
Be ready when you ask, right?
What's that?
Be ready when you ask to jump in there
Yeah.
in 3 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn off the recording then. And
That
Thanks, you
conjures a
guys.
new phrase. That conjures a new phrase. There's the New York